My cousin stole the money for my daughter's surgery and went to Hawaii. Kids are strong, she'll get better, she said. But her trip turned into a nightmare. My name is Daniel, and this is the story of how my world came crashing down because of someone I trusted, my cousin Carla. It all began 6 years ago when my daughter Valeria was born. That day should have been filled with joy. But instead, my wife Anna and I received news that chilled us to the bone. Valeria had congenital clubfoot. Her tiny feet were twisted inward, a condition that, according to the doctors, could be corrected with treatments and surgeries, but it would cost a lot of money. Anna and I had nothing. I worked as a mechanic in a garage, and she cleaned houses from time to time. We could barely afford rent and food, let alone an expensive treatment. From that moment on, I swore I would do whatever it took for my daughter. Anna and I began to save every penny we could. I stopped buying clothes for myself, stopped going out with friends, and worked overtime whenever possible. Anna did the same, cleaning houses even on weekends. We took turns caring for Valeria, who grew up beautiful despite her condition. She couldn't walk well, she got tired quickly, and sometimes she cried because her legs hurt, but she always had a smile that gave me the strength to keep going. The doctors told us the surgeries needed to be done before she grew too much, or the bones would harden and it would be more difficult to correct them. We had time, but not much. The years passed, and life gave us no breaks. When Valeria was 3 years old, Anna had a heart attack. It was sudden, one morning while she was making breakfast. I found her on the kitchen floor with a broken cup beside her. I called for an ambulance, but they didn't arrive in time. My wife, my partner, the mother of my daughter, died, and I was left alone with Valeria. The pain was unbearable. I thought about giving up 1,000 times, but I would look at my daughter and know I couldn't. She needed me. I buried Anna with the help of my family and carried on for Valeria. My only goal was to gather the money for her surgeries. I kept saving, took out small loans, and did extra jobs. My older sister, Patricia, helped me by taking care of Valeria when I was at the garage. Little by little, the money grew. After 6 years of effort, when Valeria turned 6, I had saved $55,000. It wasn't easy, but I had done it. I was ready to pay for the surgeries that would give my daughter a normal life. Then Carla entered the picture. Carla is my cousin, the daughter of a distant aunt. She was always a bit of a rebel, one of those people who never stay in one place for long. She had no steady job or major responsibilities. A few months ago, she temporarily moved in with Patricia, my sister, saying she needed a place to stay while she found her way. I didn't dislike her, but we weren't close either. When she found out about Valeria, she came to see me. "Daniel, I'm going to help you with whatever I can," she told me. "That little girl deserves to be well." Her words sounded sincere, and I was so exhausted from carrying everything alone that I believed her. I told her I had saved the $55,000 and that it was in a bank account. I asked for her advice on how to manage the money until the day of the surgery, and she offered to help me organize it. "Let me see the account activity," she said. "I can make sure everything is in order." I trusted her. I gave her access to the account, thinking she was family, that she would never hurt me. It was the worst mistake I ever made in my life. One day, a few weeks ago, I woke up and something didn't feel right. I couldn't explain it, it was like a gut feeling. I tried to call Carla to ask about some papers she had requested for organizing things, but she didn't answer. I went to Patricia's house, and my sister told me that Carla had left that morning with a suitcase. She said she was going to visit a friend, Patricia explained, but her voice was trembling. Something inside me told me to check the money. I ran to the bank that same afternoon. When I asked for the account statement, the clerk looked at me with pity. "I'm sorry, sir," he said. "The account is empty. Someone withdrew everything 2 days ago." He showed me the bank records, a transfer of $55,000 to another account, and the associated name was Carla's. I felt the air leave my lungs. My legs trembled, and I had to sit down. All the money, all those years of sacrifice, were gone. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't think clearly. I went home with a heavy heart, trying to understand how someone could be so cruel. That night, while I was trying to calm down, I received a message from Carla. It was a photo of her on a beach with a straw hat and a cocktail in her hand. Below it, the message read, "Daniel, don't worry so much. Valeria will be fine. Kids are resilient. I went to Hawaii to clear my head. I'll pay you back someday. Enjoy life." I couldn't believe it. My cousin had stolen my daughter's money and was spending it on a vacation as if it were nothing. I didn't sleep that night. I just stared at the photo, watching as Carla posted more things on social media. Photos of luxurious hotels, shopping sprees in expensive stores, dinners with ocean views. Each post was like a knife in my chest. The family found out quickly. My aunt, Carla's mom, called me crying. "Forgive me, Daniel," she said. "I don't know what happened to my daughter. I swear we're going to fix this." Other relatives wrote to me, offering apologies and small amounts of help, but nothing could replace what I had lost. Patricia was devastated, blaming herself for letting Carla live with her. I couldn't console anyone, I could barely stay on my feet. The next day, Carla uploaded another post. This time it was a short video of her walking on a beach with palm trees. "Life is meant to be enjoyed," the caption said. "Valeria will get better. Daniel, relax." Her minimizing my daughter's problem, as if her twisted feet were just a passing cold, filled me with a rage I had never felt before. That little girl, my little one, depended on me. The doctors had told me the surgeries were urgent, that the longer I waited, the more complicated it would be. And now, because of Carla, I had nothing. I spent days thinking about what to do. I couldn't just stand by while Carla spent my daughter's money. My friends told me to talk to the family, to try to reason with her, but I knew that wouldn't work. Valeria was at home asking me when I was going to fix her feet. I didn't know what to tell her. I told her soon that everything was going to be okay, but inside, I was breaking. The family could apologize all they wanted. Carla's excuses meant nothing to me. I had to act. I couldn't go on like this. As I watched Valeria sleep one night, her little twisted feet under the blanket, I made a decision. I was going to take legal action against Carla. I didn't know exactly how I would do it or where to start, but I was certain I wasn't going to let her get away with it. She could be in Hawaii spending what belonged to my daughter, but I was not going to give up. I was going to fight for Valeria, for justice, for everything I had lost. After realizing that Carla had stolen the $55,000 I had saved for Valeria's surgery, I couldn't just stand by. That decision to take legal action, which I made that night while watching my daughter sleep, wasn't just an impulse, it was a necessity. I didn't know where to start, but I was clear that I wasn't going to let Carla continue spending my daughter's money as if it were nothing. The next day, I called my sister Patricia. She was as devastated as I was by what had happened, and when I told her my plan, she didn't hesitate for a second. "Daniel, we'll do whatever it takes," she told me. "Carla is not going to get away with this." The first thing we did was sit down and think about how we could prove what she had done. We had no experience with legal matters, but we knew we needed solid evidence. Patricia brought her laptop, and we started reviewing everything we had. The most obvious things were Carla's social media posts. Since she went to Hawaii, she hadn't stopped uploading photos and videos of herself on the beach, buying expensive clothes, eating in luxurious restaurants. Each post was a slap in the face, but at the same time, it was evidence. Patricia created a folder on her computer and started saving everything. Screenshots of the photos, the captions she wrote, the dates. "This shows she's spending a ton of money all at once," Patricia said. "And we all know she had no savings before this. Next, we reviewed the conversations I had with Carla. Before she left, we had talked via text message about the money. I had written things like, "Thanks for helping me organize it," and "Make sure everything is ready for Valeria's appointment." She had replied with vague things like, "Don't worry, I've got it under control." But after the theft, she sent me that cruel message from Hawaii, "Daniel, don't worry so much. Valeria will be fine. Kids are resilient. I went to Hawaii to clear my head. I'll pay you back someday." I saved every word. Patricia printed the conversations and we put them in a folder along with the screenshots of her posts. It was something, but we knew we needed more. I decided to review the bank transactions again. I went to the bank and requested a detailed report for the account. The clerk gave me a sheet that showed the transfer of the $55,000 to another account in Carla's name. I couldn't believe how brazen she had been. She didn't try to hide it or use a fake name. I noted every detail, the date, the time, the number of the account where the money went. Patricia suggested we look for witnesses, someone who could confirm what happened. We remembered that one of Patricia's neighbors, Marta, had seen Carla leaving with a suitcase that day. We went to talk to her. "Yes, I saw her," Marta told us. "She was carrying a big suitcase and seemed to be in a hurry. She told me she was going to see a friend, but she didn't give me any details." We asked her to write down what she remembered on a piece of paper and sign it, and she agreed. It wasn't much, but it was another piece of the puzzle. With all of that in hand, Patricia and I thought we had enough to go to the police. We were wrong. We went to the local station one morning, carrying our folder of evidence. We were helped by an officer who seemed more interested in his coffee than in helping us. I explained everything, how I had saved the money for my daughter's surgery, how Carla had access to the account, how she stole it and was now in Hawaii spending it. I showed him the posts, the conversations, the bank transactions, Marta's testimony. The officer looked at everything with disinterest, flipping through the papers as if they were junk mail. "Look," he finally said, "this sounds more like a civil matter than a criminal one. She had access to the account and was living with your sister, so technically it's not a forced robbery. My advice is to take it to small claims court. They can resolve it there." I was stunned. Small claims court? I repeated, incredulous. She stole $55,000 that was for my daughter's surgery. How is that not criminal? The officer shrugged. It's complicated when it's family and she had permission to access the account. If you want, we can open a report, but I can't promise you anything. His attitude made me furious. It was obvious he didn't want to deal with the case, that it seemed like too much work. Patricia tried to insist, but the guy just gave us a phone number and told us to call if anything else happened. We left there empty-handed and with our hearts on the floor. What do we do now? Patricia asked me. I had no answer. That night, desperation got the best of me. I couldn't sleep, thinking about Valeria, about her twisted feet, about how I had failed her. I took my phone and started writing to Carla. "Please, stop spending the money," I wrote. "It's for Valeria's surgery. What's left could save her. Give it back, I'm begging you." I sent message after message, pleading with her to stop, to think about my daughter, but she didn't reply. The next day, I saw she had uploaded another photo, this time of herself on a yacht, smiling as if she owned the world. She completely ignored me. It was clear she didn't care about anything, that she was going to continue her trip without looking back. That gave me a new push. If the police weren't going to help me, I had to find more evidence myself. I went to the bank again, but this time I asked for something specific, the security camera footage from the day Carla withdrew the money. The manager gave me a strange look, but I explained the situation and showed him the transfer report. "I need to see it with my own eyes," I told him. After a while, he agreed. I sat in a small office and played the video. There was Carla, walking into the bank, talking to the teller, signing something, and leaving with a smile. It was her, no doubt. The manager gave me a copy of the video on a USB drive, saying it was the most he could do for me. I guarded it like gold. This was solid proof, something no one could deny. Then I took out the medical appointment paper I had been preparing for Valeria. It was a document from the hospital with the date of the surgery, the estimated cost, and a note from the doctor saying it was urgent. I put it with the rest of the evidence. That proved the money had a clear purpose, that it wasn't mine to spend as I pleased, and that Carla had no permission to touch it. There was only one thing left, to keep collecting Carla's posts. Every new photo, every comment about her trip, was more evidence that she was using the money for herself. Patricia and I took turns checking her social media, saving everything she uploaded. "Look at this," Patricia told me one night, showing me a picture of Carla with an expensive handbag. Someone with no money doesn't buy that. With all that in hand, the bank video, the appointment paper, the posts, the conversations, Marta's testimony, the bank transactions, I felt I had a strong case. The police might not want to help me, but I wasn't going to give up. I called a friend from the garage who knew a lawyer and asked him to connect me. I spoke with the lawyer on the phone and told him everything. "This isn't for small claims," he told me. "With this evidence, we can go for a serious civil lawsuit. Let's schedule a date for next month and we'll prepare it well." That same afternoon, I signed the papers to start the process. The trial date was set for 1 month from then. I didn't know if I would get the money back in time for Valeria, but I was ready to fight. Carla could ignore me all she wanted, but soon she would have to face me in court. A week had passed since I scheduled the trial date against Carla. That time was a mix of anxiety and hope. On one hand, I had the evidence ready, the bank video, Carla's posts, the bank transactions, everything Patricia and I had gathered. On the other hand, I couldn't stop thinking about Valeria. Every day that passed without the money was another day further from her surgery. She was still at home, asking me in her soft voice when I was going to fix her feet. I told her soon, but the truth was, I didn't know if I would succeed in time. The trial was a month away, and although I trusted the evidence, I had no guarantee that the money would come back quickly. Then, one afternoon, my Aunt Elena, Carla's mother, called me. Her voice was trembling as if she had been crying. "Daniel, please, we need to talk," she said. "It's about Carla and the lawsuit. Can we meet at our house?" I didn't want to go. I was sick of the family's apologies, but something in her tone made me agree. I called Patricia and told her. "Let's go together," she said. "We don't know what they want, but you're not facing this alone." So that night, with a heavy heart, I went to my aunt and uncle's house with my sister by my side. When I arrived, everyone was there, my Aunt Elena, my Uncle Reuben, some cousins. The tension in the air was so thick you could cut it with a knife. I sat on the sofa, and Elena was the first to speak. "Daniel, we know what Carla did," she said, her eyes red. "There are no words to ask for your forgiveness. When we found out about the lawsuit, we realized how serious this is." Reuben, who had always been quiet, looked up and added, "She's our daughter and we love her, but what she did has no justification. We want to fix it." Then they took out an envelope and gave it to me. I opened it. Inside was $12,000 in cash. I looked at the money and then at them, not understanding. "What is this?" I asked. Elena took a deep breath. "It's a down payment," she said. "We know it's not everything, but it's what we could gather quickly. We're asking you, please, to cancel the lawsuit. Carla is young, she's 25. If she loses, she could spend years in prison, and we don't know if she could handle it." Reuben put a hand on his wife's shoulder and looked at the floor. "We don't want Valeria to suffer, Daniel. We will make Carla pay, we swear it, but give us a chance to resolve this as a family." That money in my hands gave me a sense of relief I didn't expect. $12,000 wasn't the $55,000 I needed, but it was something concrete, a step towards Valeria's surgery. I looked at Patricia, seeking her opinion. She frowned but said nothing, leaving the decision to me. Then I looked at Elena and Ruben. Their faces were full of pain and shame. I remembered when we were kids, when Carla and I played in their backyard. I didn't want to destroy my family, but I also couldn't forget what had happened. "All right," I said finally. "I accept the money and will cancel the lawsuit for now. But you have until the original trial date to pay me the rest. If you don't, I'll reactivate it." "Understood?" Elena nodded quickly, through tears. "Yes, Daniel, thank you. We promise you will do it." Ruben shook my hand, and the others murmured thanks and more apologies. 2 days later, Carla returned from Hawaii. Patricia called me that morning to tell me. "I just saw her arrive at my place," she said. "Her parents were waiting for her, and they did not look happy. I didn't go to see her. I didn't want to face her yet. But I heard from my aunt that the reunion was not pretty." Elena and Ruben met her, furious. They yelled at her for hours. They told her she had betrayed the family, that her selfishness had almost destroyed Valeria's life. Patricia told me she heard Ruben say, "You're getting out of this house right now. You're not staying here after what you did." They took her from my sister's house and brought her to their own, determined to make her face the consequences. The following days were chaos for Carla. Her parents forced her to find a job to start paying off the debt. At first, she resisted. "I'll pay it back when I can," she would say, but they gave her no choice. They took her to a clothing store where a friend of Ruben's offered her a job and made it clear that every cent would go to me. But Carla didn't even last a week. She was fired for being late and fighting with customers. Her attitude hadn't changed, and that only infuriated her parents more. They decided to take tougher measures. They went through everything she brought back from Hawaii: expensive handbags, designer clothes, jewelry, and sold it all. Carla screamed and cried, but it was no use. "This is what happens when you steal," Elena told her. "You're going to learn, even if it's the hard way." The final blow came from my great-uncle, Carla's grandfather. He was a tough man of few words but highly respected in the family. One night, he organized a meeting at his house and summoned Carla. Everyone was there, her parents, her siblings, aunts, and uncles. The grandfather sat her down in front of him and spoke to her plainly. "You are a disgrace to this family. What you did to Daniel and that little girl is unforgivable. If you don't change, don't ever expect us to welcome you with open arms again." Those words broke her. For the first time, they say, Carla lowered her head and said nothing. The rejection from her grandfather, someone she had always wanted to impress, hit her harder than any shouting. Meanwhile, I began to see the money arrive, little by little. The $12,000 was the start. Then came smaller payments, $5,000 from Ruben, $3,000 from a cousin, $2,000 from a sale Elena made. It wasn't fast, but it added up. With every dollar, I got closer to Valeria's surgery. I spoke with the hospital and explained the situation. They gave me an extension to gather the rest, and with the family's payments, I was finally able to schedule the operation. The date was set for 2 months later, and when I told Valeria, her eyes lit up. "Really, Dad?" she asked. "Really," I told her, and hugged her tight. One day, while I was going over the numbers with Patricia, I received a message from Carla. "Daniel, I am so sorry," it said. "I shouldn't have done what I did. I've paid everything back now. I won't bother you anymore." She had sent the final portion of the money that morning, completing the $55,000. I looked at the message but didn't reply. I had nothing to say to her. My priority was Valeria, not Carla. I put my phone away and went on with my day, focusing on what mattered, my daughter. The family dynamic changed after that. Carla was left alone, working whatever job she could find, but no one looked at her the same way. Her parents let her live in their house, but the relationship was broken. Patricia said she sometimes saw her looking quiet, as if she finally understood what she had lost. I didn't feel sorry for her. She chose her path, and I chose mine. Valeria's surgery was a perfect success. Her feet began to straighten, and although it would take time and therapy, the doctors told me she would walk normally one day. Seeing her take her first steps without pain was everything I needed. The story ended with a clear lesson. Carla's selfishness cost her dearly. She lost the respect of her family, her luxuries, her freedom. And with my determination, I recovered what belonged to my daughter. It wasn't easy, but it was worth every second of the fight. Now, as I watch Valeria play, I know I did the right thing. That's what matters.